It is often said that dawn paints every kingdom with hope, but in Letros, the rising sun often felt like a gilded lie. For beneath the surface of prosperity and peace, ambition was slowly poisoning the kingdom.
There's something off. I can feel it, like the calm before a storm. But I can't put my finger on it.
For decades, King Zastan had been the steady hand that guided Letros to peace and prosperity, but now he felt unease, an unsettling whisper he couldn't ignore.
Your Majesty, the kingdom thrives under your reign. But perhaps it's time we think of the future. The young Prince Violent, his heart is full of promise. He may be the future Letros needs.
And in the heart of that growing darkness was Lady Fry. Her beauty was legendary, her influence undeniable. The king trusted her implicitly, saw her as a loyal advisor, a rock in the shifting tides of court. Lady Fry, trusted, revered, and so deceptively kind. The king was blind to her ambition. He trusted her with the kingdom's future, unaware of the silent venom she spread. The Knights of Letros, once the sworn protectors of the realm, an order steeped in tradition and valor. But like all things touched by time and ambition, they, too, had begun to fray at the edges. Their loyalty, once absolute, was now being subtly redirected, thread by treacherous thread, by Lady Fry's persuasive whispers and promises of a new order.
Something isn't right. The knights, they used to swear loyalty to father, but now their eyes, they look elsewhere. Toward Lady Fry? What's happening?
It was Prince Violin, the king's only son, who first noticed the subtle shifts. A whispered word here, a glance there. He saw the unwavering devotion of the Knights of Letros, once directed solely at his father, now leaning toward Lady Fry. Violin loved his father deeply. He had grown up hearing tales of Zastan's wisdom and courage, and the thought of any harm coming to him ignited a fierce protectiveness within the young prince. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, that a shadow was creeping over this great kingdom. The conspiracy was like a slow poison, seeping into the veins of Letros. Lady Fry, with the silent support of her enigmatic knights, was meticulously weaving a web of deceit. She played on the ambitions of disgruntled nobles, exploited old grievances, and painted a vision of a Letros under her guidance, a vision of strength and glory, subtly contrasting it with the king's perceived weakness. Driven by a growing unease, Violin began his own investigation. He moved with caution, like a shadow in the corridors of power, listening to whispers, piecing together fragments of information. But every step he took felt like walking on thin ice, the danger of exposure a constant threat. He tried to confide in those he believed to be loyal.
Sir Kalen, have you noticed anything strange? The knights, they no longer protect father as they should.
Sir Kalen, a knight who had served his father for decades, brushed aside Violin's concerns, his words laced with an almost unsettling certainty in Lady Fry's integrity.
Prince, you must be mistaken. Lady Fry has only your father's best interests at heart. The kingdom is strong, as it always has been.
This only deepened Violin's suspicion. Had the poison spread even to the most trusted hearts? But Violin was no fool. With doubt burning in his chest, he sought the truth. And what he found in the forgotten chamber of the castle chilled him to his core. Hidden within the dusty confines of a forgotten chamber, he found proof, documents bearing Lady Fry's seal, outlining a meticulously planned betrayal. The king was to be framed, his authority undermined, and then removed. The details were cold, calculated, and sent a shiver down Violin's spine. Armed with this damning evidence, Violin knew he was walking a treacherous path. To confront Lady Fry directly would be to invite his own demise. He needed a plan, a way to bring the truth to light without becoming another victim in her power play. He turned to an unlikely ally, Anya, a childhood friend who now worked within the castle walls, her position humble, but her loyalty unwavering. Anya possessed a keen eye for detail and a network of informants amongst the servants and guards, the unseen eyes and ears of the castle.
These documents. Look, it's all here. Lady Fry was planning to frame Father, weaken him, and take his place. She's been working with the knights all along, weaving her web of lies.
Violin, you're risking everything. If Lady Fry finds out.
I have no choice. I'll expose her, no matter the cost.
Together, they worked in the shadows, Anya's whispers confirming Violin's fears. The Knights of Letros, or at least a significant faction of them, were indeed under Lady Fry's control. Their once sacred vows had been twisted, their loyalty perverted by promises of power and influence in Lady Fry's new regime. The danger was palpable. Violin had a close call, a brush with a patrol of knights whose eyes held a chillingly unfamiliar glint. He understood then the depth of Lady Fry's control. The very protectors of the realm had become her instruments of treachery. With the truth in hand, Violin knew he had to act quickly. His next move would ignite a battle, one that would rip through Letros like a storm. Their plan was risky. They would leak carefully selected pieces of evidence to a handful of influential nobles, individuals known for their unwavering loyalty to the crown, hoping to ignite a spark of rebellion against Lady Fry's growing power. The seeds of doubt were sown. Whispers began to circulate in the halls of the castle, hushed conversations in the dead of night. The carefully constructed facade of Lady Fry's influence began to show cracks. But Lady Fry was no fool. She sensed the change in the wind, the subtle shift in the court's dynamics. Her moves became bolder, more open. During a royal address, she subtly contradicted the king, her words cloaked in concern but carrying the unmistakable sting of defiance. King Zastan, oblivious to the viper coiled at his feet, looked on with a mixture of confusion and hurt. He still trusted Lady Fry, unable to fathom the depth of her treachery. The stage was set for a confrontation. Violin, encouraged by the support of the loyal nobles and the intelligence gathered by Anya, knew he had to act quickly before Lady Fry consolidated her power completely. The moment came during the annual harvest feast, a night of celebration that would soon turn into a night of revelation. As the wine flowed and the music played, Prince Violin stepped into the grand hall, the damning documents clutched in his hand. His voice, though young, resonated through the stunned silence of the hall.
Listen to me, all of you. I have proof. Lady Fry has been plotting against my father.
He laid bare the conspiracy, presenting the evidence he had painstakingly gathered, accusing Lady Fry of the gravest of betrayals. Lady Fry, for a fleeting moment, looked like a cornered animal, but her mask of composure soon returned, replaced by an expression of indignant outrage. The reaction was immediate and chaotic. The Knights of Letros present in the hall exchanged uneasy glances, their hands hovering over their sword hilts, their loyalties torn between their oath to the king and the influence of Lady Fry.
It seems, Your Majesty, that the prince has been misinformed. Or perhaps he has stumbled upon only a fraction of the truth. Because, you see, King Zastan, I wasn't planning to seize your kingdom.
King Zastan watched the scene unfold, his face a mask of disbelief and crushing pain. The woman he had trusted, the woman he had considered a friend, stood accused of plotting his downfall by his own son. But then, a figure moved. Sir Kaelin, the elder knight Violin had tried to confide in, stepped forward, not to defend the king, but to stand resolutely beside Lady Fry. He drew his sword, and with a chillingly unified movement, a significant number of the Knights of Letros followed his lead. A tense standoff begun. Loyal guards, spurred by the shock of the revelation and their unwavering devotion to the king, drew their weapons, as did the nobles who had secretly pledged their support to Violin. The Grand Hall of Letros was on the brink of bloodshed. Lady Fry, amidst the chaos, offered a chillingly calm smile. At that moment, the grand doors of the hall burst open, revealing not more of the familiar silent falcon, but ranks of knights clad in different armor, bearing the sigil of a roaring wolf. A sigil no one in Letros had seen for generations. And leading them was a figure who sent a collective gasp of shock through the assembled court. A man who bore a striking resemblance to King Zastan, but younger, with a coldness in his eyes that the king had never possessed.
Who is this?
He spoke, his voice a chilling echo of the king's own.
Greetings, father, or should I say, uncle?
King Zastan's face crumpled in utter disbelief and horror. Prince Violin stood frozen, the documents in his hand suddenly feeling insignificant. Lady Fry's betrayal was not about seizing this kingdom. It was about paving the way for another. A forgotten lineage, a hidden claim, now unleashed upon Letros. The truth was far worse than Violin had ever imagined. The battle for Letros was just beginning, and it was a battle that no one could afford to lose. Lady Fry was not the end of the story. She was merely a player, a key to unlocking a forgotten claim. The true battle for Letros, it seemed, had only just begun. And Prince Violin, who had set out to save his father, now found himself facing a threat far greater than he could have ever imagined. The dawn in Letros had indeed been a lie, and the darkness that had just descended promised a long and bloody night.
Thank you for watching the first in a series of short stories on the Kingdom of Letros. What do you think will happen next in Letros? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you loved this story, hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating tales.